Welcome into the NFL Every Game on the Board podcast with our first guest up, Minty Bets on Twitter at Minty Bets. Minty, welcome in. How you feeling?
Feeling good. I'm excited for this weekend. How are you, Drew?
I'm doing good. Really excited for this weekend as well. I mean, wild card weekend in the NFL playoffs is one of my favorite weekends, to tell you the truth, Minty. I mean, right after the holidays, and we get an extra game on each day just this year in comparison to last year's. I'm kind of excited about that, having football all day long.
Yeah, I'm excited too. So it should be a really fun weekend. I love all these matchups, actually. So I'm excited.
Yeah, for sure. So, guys, we're going Indianapolis, Buffalo down to Tampa Bay, Washington on this segment. That's 3 games on Saturday. And then we'll bring in Ski Profit, our closer for today, to break down the Sunday games as well. So we'll start off here. Top of the card, Minty, we got Saturday, January 9th. Indianapolis Colts at the Buffalo Bills, 141, 142, the rotation numbers here. 1:05 p.m. Eastern kick, of course, being 10 a.m. Pacific kick, 51 being the total. We're seeing anywhere from -6 to -7 here, Minty, on the Buffalo Bills. So a little bit of an opinion in the marketplace in terms of which sports book we're shopping at. We can call it the prevailing number. Buffalo Bills -6.5 at home, 51 the total in Orchard Park, New York, kicking off our wild card weekend in the playoffs. Minty, what are you thinking here? Indy at Buffalo.
Oh, my heart says to go with the Bills by a touchdown, but because we've seen them play dominantly on both sides of the ball. But I think the play here is Colts +7. The Colts have been underdogs only once this season, which is crazy to think of, and it was against Cleveland, which they didn't cover. So them being an underdog by a touchdown is kind of a lot, in my opinion. They're top 11 in rushing and passing, defense and offense, as well as scoring defense and offense. So that's pretty impressive. I don't like to bet a game where I go back and forth a lot because I really like the Bills and I can see them blowing them out, but I also think the Colts have a chance here. The Bills blew out their last 4 opponents, but those were against teams who have losing records. So I think this is a great spot for the Colts. I like the Colts plus the points, but I hope the Bills win. But I think it'll be a tight game. So I'd like to know what you think about this, because I feel like a lot of people are on the Bills.
Sure, it does seem like a lot of people are on the Bills, Minty. And you bring up their schedule. I mean, yeah, New England, Denver. I guess they did win and cover against Pittsburgh and Miami. I know you kind of meant like their schedule wasn't as good, but Miami, at least a decent team. As I'm talking from South Florida here, as a Dolphins fan. But yeah, you're right. I mean, winning and covering numbers down the stretch. Indy was a team, Minty, I lost money on this year. Not only their season wins, just betting them throughout the year. They've kind of been a thorn in my side. I'll tell you, it kind of seems like a square play, like you were talking about, but laying it with the Buffalo Bills. And guys, one thing you got to notice when Minty was, saying +7 with the Indianapolis Colts, that is a very important thing in this game because it's right around the key number of 7. So you can get anywhere from 6 to 7. So if you're looking to bet the Colts, it's important to have more than one sports book because you can get that number of 7. If it lands on 7, you're going to push your bet. Whereas if you're looking to bet Buffalo, you can lay the 6. The 6.5 mostly. There is a couple prominent sports books out there, just 6 flat. So you want to look more towards that side. But Minty, talking about this game, and I know it does kind of sound a little squarish here. I like Buffalo. I really do. I think we get the better quarterback. They're playing hot right now. Looking at their offense, I mean, look at just, point totals the last 3 games, 56 points, 38 points, 48 points as well, going to Denver and putting up near, 50 points against Miami. Brian Flores, that defense is actually pretty good, and they put up near or over 50 points against the Dolphins. So I love betting on hot offenses. And there's a stat here that I really think does have some strength in terms of Indianapolis played 5 outdoor games this year, Minty, and went 2-3, both straight up and against the spread. And of course, being a dome team, an older quarterback, Phillip Rivers, played at NC State and then Southern California. Not a lot of, outdoor weather games, not a lot of cold games. And sure enough, this is outdoors in New York in the month of January, projected to be pretty cold weather, maybe sub 30, around 30 degrees. So I think all of that adds up to me laying the 6, shopping around, finding a good number on the Buffalo Bills, Minty. Unfortunately, it looks like we're up against each other.
It's okay. No, I love the Bills. I hope they win. I can see them, like I said, blowing them out, but I think this is just something tells me just take the Colts and the points. But I'm not betting this one, like I said, because I keep going back and forth on this one. And I'd like to shout out Teasing the NFL joining us on this stream. I think Teasing NFL is awesome. Thanks for joining us again, sir.
Teasing the NFL. Do you know him personally?
No, but last week he was like the freaking NFL encyclopedia. We were like saying stuff and we're like, I'm not sure if this is true or not. And here Teasing the NFL is just like spitting facts and knowledge. And I'm like, whoa, here we go. Cool.
All right, so Teasing the NFL joining us on the WagerTalk YouTube here. He's got a couple comments saying Rivers has not historically been good in the cold, kind of talking about where I was going with that. We got Michael, welcome in as well. Guys, if you're joining us on YouTube or via Periscope, on Twitter, at Minty Bets, at Drew Martin Bets, at the WagerTalk Twitter handle, feel free to chime in. Let us know what you're looking to bet this weekend and why. We'll get it out to the listeners. And if you're liking the content, please smash the like button. If you're watching on replay, that works too, guys. Feel free to drop a comment below on the YouTube channel. Minty, we got the middle game here on Saturday. LA Rams, Seattle Seahawks, 143, 144 the rotation, 440 Eastern, 140 Pacific kick, 42.5 being the total. This is the lowest total on the board, not only Saturday, but for the whole weekend here, Minty. And we got the Seattle Seahawks, -3 in the hook. The LA Rams taking some money throughout the week. Do you think it's the smart money on the Rams, Minty?
I have had such a bad season with the NFC West that I just like don't. This is the last time I'll have to evaluate an NFC West matchup. So, and I'm so excited. I really love the Seahawks, of course. I love Russell Wilson. I love the Seahawks. But I've said it time and time again, they love to keep games really close, which makes me wary of this line. I think 4 is a little too much. Against NFC West opponents, Seattle is 3-6 against the spread their last 9, and they're 1-5 against the spread in general when favored by 4 or more points. Not great at covering higher spreads, I should say. Not that 4 is a high number, so that's why I'm a little worried. So no side for me here, although I hope Seattle wins. I would have liked the under if it was set at 46, but 42 is so low, 42.5. I mean, I can't touch this game, but the Seahawks are 7-1 to the under their last 8, and the Rams are 11-2 to the under their last 13. Pretty crazy. They've hit the under like a ton this season. I lean the under. I think this actually might be a great spot to tease the Rams and the under. So maybe I'll do that, but I don't know. I'm just iffy on this one.
Yeah, this is a tough one sidewise for me, Minty. I think Seattle, we get the better quarterback, Russell Wilson being at home, -3 in the hook. That's an important hook on the 3, guys. Landing on the number of 3 in the NFL is the most, I guess, happens the most in terms of outcomes in the NFL games. Talking about the total, Minty, I love your stats. What, under an 11 of the last 13 with the LA Rams? What, 1-7 to the under with the Seattle Seahawks? Those are some strong stats here pointing towards the under. And sure enough, it is 42.5 at most sports books. Some sports books just going to 42 flat. And when you start talking about, sub 45 totals, guys, each half a point matters that much more just because there's not as many outcomes where it's going to land on the under number. So you really got to watch out for that and shop for good numbers. I actually lean under here. I think both defenses have strong outings here. Defensive line for the LA Rams, I think, can hold Russell Wilson kind of at bay. This is one I haven't bet personally. Do want to say that up front, but I do lean towards the under of 42.5, Minty.
Yep, same. I haven't bet any of these games yet, but I'm leaning the under real hard. So hopefully we're right.
All right, we got a question here, Minty. Craig asking, any value on the Titans to be the highest scoring team of the weekend at +900, or is that a sucker bet?
I don't like that bet. I think the Ravens defense can step it up this week. I think the Ravens might be the highest scoring team of the weekend. What do you think, Drew?
Well, it's interesting because I see where Craig's going with this. Get the underdog on the highest total game. And sure enough, if they do win outright, they would be the highest scoring team. And totals wise, the market's telling us that there's going to be a lot of points here. Yeah. So at that +900, actually, Craig, I'd be interested what sports book you're talking about, because I know South Point in Las Vegas does those type of props. Actually, they did it throughout the regular season as well. I would guess that most sports books are putting out these types of props. Actually, Minty, I know you're somewhat connected there with BetMGM. They're going out with a bunch of props each and every weekend throughout playoffs, right?
They are. There's a ton of props. Actually, I was supposed to be at that game, the Titans-Ravens game with BetMGM, but just there's not a lot of flights out from Vegas to there, like early in the morning or late at night, so I was not able to go. But yeah, this should be a really great game. BetMGM has a ton of props like this, but maybe not as many as South Point, I would say. I know South Point is pretty player-friendly with that stuff.
Yeah, for sure. Chris Andrews does a good job there. So wait, you were going to fly out and go to the Tennessee game in Nashville?
Yeah, and I've never been to Nashville, so I really would have loved to go, but maybe next time, or maybe when the Raiders they held the Super Bowl here, so maybe I'll go to that one.
Okay, no, I almost thought you meant like go to BetMGM in Las Vegas, but sure enough, get on a flight. That would have been something for sure. But yeah, guys, I guess just leaning towards the under here. LA Rams, Seattle Seahawks. Not much sidewise. I think it's about right, but I guess we'll see. Dan, welcome in, teasing the NFL again, and Craig, it's on FanDuel, he says. Okay, so cool. FanDuel, putting out a lot of props. Actually, Minty, the New Jersey sports books are kind of, almost at the forefront of putting out props. Maybe not like the South Point, but just in a short period of time, they've kind of been putting out, market makers in certain bets. It's actually been surprising.
It's been very successful. Yeah, New Jersey's like light years ahead of us here in Nevada in terms of like props and like promotions and all that stuff. So it's a little sad to see that Nevada is so old school and behind on all that stuff.
Yeah, some of them have actually been putting out like William Hill. If you like deposited $50, you get 50 as long as you bet the $50, stuff like that, which in the past wasn't too prevalent. I know CG Technology, that isn't in I guess total business anymore, was doing that as well. But you're right, the promotions seem to be a little bit better with the Jersey books.
Yeah, absolutely. So hopefully Nevada catches up sometime this lifetime.
Well, Minty, we got the nightcap here on Saturday, January 9th, guys. Tampa Bay Bucs at the Washington Football Team, not to be confused with the Redskins. 8:15 Eastern, 5:15 Pacific here. Tampa Bay -8 in the hook, Minty. There is some -8 flats if you're looking to be betting the Bucs as well to shop around for, guys. 45 being the total in the nation's capital Saturday night, Minty. What are you thinking here?
I think this is an unpopular take, but I think Washington is a decent team, especially when Alex Smith starts. They're 5-2 against the spread their last 7. They've hit the under in 6 of those 7 games, by the way. Their defense is something else, allowing an average of 6.2 yards per pass attempt, allowing the second fewest touchdown passes and the second most interceptions, or recording the second most interceptions, I should say, and allowing a QB rating of 81.4, which is right behind the Steelers and the Rams. Tom Brady's going to be throwing the ball a lot, I think, even if they are a receiver short and Mike Evans. I really like Washington plus the points here, so that 8 in the hook I might be interested in. I can definitely see Tampa Bay just like blowing them out, but my lean is Washington Football Team, and I think you're going to be against me and go with Tom Brady and the Bucs.
No, I like Washington and the football team. I love that defensive line, especially going up against Tom Brady. I think that they're going to fluster him. We've seen it in the past with him struggling against the better defensive lines, similar to a lot of quarterbacks. Minty, a couple reasons. I just want to throw out a couple stats here. Tom Brady, 12th consecutive trip to the playoffs. Obviously very impressive there. Tampa Bay trying to become the first team to play in a Super Bowl at their home stadium. I think that's cool. From a fan standpoint, I'm kind of rooting for that. But at 43 years old here, I do worry about him, even though 4,600 yards passing and 40 touchdowns. He's proven to people he can do it, Minty, and that's kind of cool, especially going out there on a limb. Is it Bill Belichick doing it? Is it Tom Brady, the Pats all those years? Sure enough, the Pats aren't in the playoffs, and Tom Brady finds himself here with a heck of a season. I do want to throw out a stat in get your opinion on this. This is from Twitter. Doug Kazarian from ESPN tweeted out, Tom Brady is 43 years old, normally goes to bed around 8:30 p.m. In primetime games, kickoff around 8:15 p.m. this season. He's 1-3, 0-4 against the spread, 5 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. Of course, this game being at 8:15 p.m. Do you think there's any, I guess, repeatability to how he's performed late games in primetime?
I actually heard something about that. I'm glad you have an actual like solid stat because I was going to say he was like 1-6 against the spread in primetime games like that. But is there any repeatability? Yeah, especially with his age, I think. I think it could very well, history could repeat itself. So that's also kind of factored into why I like Washington here because you don't really know what you're going to get with Tom Brady and the same situation. Kind of like how, what was it, Kirk Cousins? He never does well in primetime games, and it kind of repeats itself too. Like he
Oh,
never
yeah.
primetime games. Yeah. So I think there is something to it for sure.
Okay. All right. Good stuff there. I think there is too. I mean, especially with the kind of inside information that he goes to bed early. He's, on the wrong side of 40, I guess. And he hasn't performed well. I think some of that has to do with the competition he played. I know one of the games we kind of watched as a WagerTalk group there at Circa, it was against the Giants, with a pretty good defensive line. He didn't perform that well. So I think there's a little bit more that goes into it. But yeah, I would look for some repeatability in that. And especially he's on the road in Washington, D.C. against a good defensive line. And he's having to cover multiple key numbers here, the 3, the 7. You're getting plus 8.5 with Washington. Now, there's a reason you're getting plus 8.5 because offensively, Washington is a little bit handicapped, and that's something you definitely got to worry about. But I think, Alex Smith and company, they can do enough. Hopefully the calf is healed enough where he has a little bit of mobility. But I like Washington here, Minty. I really do.
I do too. And City by the Bay says, Drew, you and I are a dream team. That's what City by the Bay said. I think they agree with us as Washington should have success, but Washington just can't score points. I totally agree. So hopefully Washington can hold off the Bucs from scoring points as well and keep it under a touchdown.
Okay. We got Bill saying he likes the under. City is also saying, Alex Smith can barely throw the rock. That team can't score points. Just like I said, if you're looking to be betting Washington, that is a worry, is their offense for sure. So it's tough to have a for sure bet, especially with only 3 games we're breaking down on this card, Minty. But do you have one you want to throw out there, like kind of as your best bet on Saturday or Sunday, I guess?
For Saturday, let me go through this. Well, it's not the Rams Seahawks game. I think, oh man, it's either between the Colts, obviously, or Washington, because those are the only other two. I think Washington might be the better bet here. More value, higher line. Man, no, just kidding. Colts. I like the Colts. If we can get 7 plus 7, I like the Colts actually.
Okay, liking the Colts. What if we expanded it to Sunday's games as well? Do you have would it be a different best bet?
Yes. It would be the Saints plus 10 or plus 10 minus 10. I actually really love the Saints here against the Bears, the 8-8 Bears. I think the Saints can cover very well. They're 4-2 against the spread when favored by 10 or more points, by the way. And the Chicago defense is not what it used to be. So I think Drew Brees and company can keep it, or not keep it close, but can just blow them out. So I really like the Saints here.
Yeah. Saints laying the number, at home. What are we thinking here, Drew Brees, in the future, Minty? I know you know the team pretty well.
I was already pretty set on this being his last season, and I know there's rumors of him retiring after this, so hopefully he can get one more ring before he does retire. But I can't see him play anywhere else. I don't want to see him play anywhere else. I'd rather him just retire. And I mean, he's not getting better with age, he's kind of has his flaws. So I think he should retire.
Okay. All right. And we got some questions here with the Washington and under. I think that's parlayable. I mean, I'm not really a parlay guy, talking to Shane here in the chat box, but I could see some correlation there with the Washington football team and the under, because if they're able to win, it's likely a defensive battle. Whereas if Tampa Bay wins, I think there's correlation with them kind of lighting up the scoreboard. And also a little teaser from Jacob in the chat box saying tease Bills minus a half a point and Bucs to -2. Of course, anytime you're looking to tease in the NFL, which we've talked about on the channel a bunch here, you want to be going through key numbers. I guess with the Bills, you get it, 6.5 down to a half a point. That's relatively good. It's a little bit better bet, I think, on the Bucs. Going, you're getting 7 and 3 through that teaser, so that's a good look there, Jacob. John in the house as well. Do we think Washington will outshoot Brady? Well, I don't know if that's the case. So that's why we're talking about parlaying the under and the football team. But Minty, great stats on today's show. We got the wild card Saturday in the books. We got Sunday. Guys, the Sunday games coming up next here at 12 noon Pacific time with Ski Profit as the closer. We'll break down those 3 games on the WagerTalk YouTube channel, also on Twitter as well. But Minty, as always, it's been a blast this season. We'll have you on next week too, talking the divisional round. But anything you wanted to throw out there before we shut this down?
Nope. I think that's it. Hopefully they name a Washington football team by next season so we can call them something a little bit shorter. But that's about it. Check out Yahoo Sportsbook on Twitter as we're putting out a ton of content. I'm going to start giving you some NBA picks, so just stay on the lookout for that. That's it. Should be a great weekend.
All right. Yeah. Check her out. The Yahoo Sportsbook Twitter. She's got at Minty Bets on Twitter as well. WagerTalk.com, SportsMemo.com. Guys, we got a lot of savings there, a lot of discounts, 30-day all access at both websites as well. So thanks for tuning in, guys. We'll be right back in 5 minutes with Ski Profit.